Good afternoon and Merry Christmas, football fans. Day Al here on Thursday, December 22nd, 2022, and welcome in to my Week 16 picks in the National Football League for the Christmas Eve games at the afternoon games. Also, the announcers for all 16 games will be taking a look at those as we go along in this video. And at the end, the updated playoff races and clinching scenarios for a number of teams. So we'll start as always with the breakdown of the week. All right. So it all starts tonight with the Jaguars and the Jets, two teams still very much alive in the AFC playoff picture. That game is tonight. And then usual Sunday afternoon schedule will be played on Saturday because Christmas is on Sunday. So they moved those games to 10 during the day. Each network will be airing 5 games, 4 in the early window and 1 in the late window. All right, CBS will have regional coverage with the Bengals and the Patriots, Bills and the Bears, Texans and the Titans, and the Saints and Browns early, and in their late game will be the Commanders and 49ers. Fox will have a doubleheader. They have the Seahawks at the Chiefs, the Giants at the Vikings, the Falcons at the Ravens, the Lions at the Panthers early, and then the entire nation will be watching the Eagles and the Cowboys. Then there's a Saturday night game on NFL Network, the Raiders and Steelers, commemorating 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. And the man that scored that game-winning touchdown in the 1972 AFC Divisional Playoff game, Franco Harris, he passed away the other day. So rest in peace to you, Franco Harris, one of the all-time greats. And we do have football on Christmas Day. There are 3 games. And all will be nationally televised. The Packers will play the Dolphins in the early game on Fox. Then you've got the Broncos and on CBS and Nickelodeon. Of course, there will be 2 different broadcast teams for that one game. We'll tell you that. And then your usual Sunday night game with the Buccaneers at the Cardinals. And then Week 16 wrap Monday night, the Chargers visiting the Colts. And in case you missed my Week 16 power rankings, which I unveil every Tuesday at the end of the week that was, here they are again. The Houston Texans sit at number 32. Then it's the Los Angeles Rams at 31, the Chicago Bears at 30, the Arizona Cardinals at number 29, the Indianapolis Colts at 28, the Denver Broncos 27, the New Orleans Saints 26, Carolina Panthers 25, Atlanta Falcons 24, Cleveland Browns 23, Tampa Bay Buccaneers 22, Green Bay Packers 21, New York Jets 20, Tennessee Titans 19, Las Vegas Raiders 18, Jacksonville Jaguars 17, the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 16, the Seattle Seahawks at 15, the New England Patriots 14, Miami Dolphins 13, the Los Angeles Chargers 12, New York Giants 11, Washington Commanders 10, Detroit Lions 9, Baltimore Ravens 8, Dallas Cowboys 7, Minnesota Vikings 6, Kansas City Chiefs at 5, Cincinnati Bengals at 4, the Buffalo Bills at 3, the San Francisco 49ers at number 2, and the Philadelphia Eagles at number 1. That being said, let's jump right in to my Week 16 picks, starting things off with Thursday Night Football, and a game that will be kicking off in about 3 hours. The 6-8 Jacksonville Jaguars at the 7-7 New York Jets. Both teams on the outside of the AFC playoffs looking in. But I think the fish is much bigger for Jacksonville because they're tracking down Tennessee for the AFC South title. That gets tonight at 8:15 Eastern on Prime Video with Al Michaels and Street. This game will be locally televised on Fox stations WFOX in Jacksonville and Fox owned and operated WNYW in New York. Current point spread as of 4 p.m. Eastern time is the Jets minus 2.5, and the over-under is at 36. I have the Jets winning this game 20-20 and covering the 2.5 points, and the game is over the total. That brings us to Christmas Eve, and we'll start things off with the 5-9 Atlanta Falcons, still in the race for the NFC South, like everyone else in that division, taking on the 9-5 Baltimore Ravens in the Farm City. Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. on Fox. Now, the maps for all the Saturday afternoon games and the announcers for each game are courtesy of the 506 Sports app. Just go to www.506sports.com/NFL, and the matchups, maps for each game, and the announcers for each game will all be there. Now, the maps are subject to change at a moment's notice, so just keep checking back and see if a game in your area has been switched out or not. On the Fox early map on 506sports.com, the Falcons and Ravens are shaded green. Main Fox stations are WA Atlanta, which is a Fox-owned and operated station, and WBFF in Baltimore. And this is a pretty limited coverage area, as Tallahassee, Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Pittsburgh, and DC are the other markets outside of Atlanta and Baltimore getting this game. The announcers are Kenny Hubbard and Jonathan Vilma. Current point spread is Baltimore minus 6.5. Over under is at 35. 21-16, so I'm taking them straight up. But I'm taking Atlanta over the 35 total. Then you got the Buffalo Bills at the Chicago Bears. Buffalo is 11-3 going into this week. Chicago 11. Bills are headed to the playoffs. The Bears are eliminated from the playoffs. This is on Saturday at 1 p.m. on CBS. The main CBS stations for this game are WIVB in Buffalo and owned and operated WBBM TV in Chicago. Major markets outside Buffalo and Chicago receiving this game include Grand Rapids, St. Louis, Milwaukee, Rochester, Syracuse, and Albany. And the announcers will be Greg Gumbel and Adam Archuleta. The current point spread in this game is Buffalo minus 9, and the over-under is 39.5. I have the Bills winning straight up 27-20, but I have Chicago covering the 9 points as the home underdog. And based on score prediction, I have this game going over. On to Foxborough now, as the 7-7 New England Patriots look to put that embarrassing loss to the Raiders behind them, return home to host Joe Cool and the 10-4 Cincinnati Bengals, the current leaders of the AFC North. And of course, the Bengals coming off that big comeback win in Tampa where they were down 17-zip and then scored 34 unanswered points by forcing 4 turnovers. This game is Saturday at 1 p.m. on CBS. By the way, on the CBS on 506sports.com, the Bills and Bears are listed in green, while the Bengals and Patriots are listed in red. So that means most of the country will be getting this game. Main CBS stations are WKRC in Cincinnati and CBS owned and operated WBZ TV in Boston. Major markets outside Boston and Cincinnati getting this game include Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, Phoenix, Tucson, Albuquerque, Denver, Colorado Springs, El Paso, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Little Rock, Birmingham, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Fort Myers, West Palm Beach, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Raleigh-Durham, Wichita, Omaha, Des Moines, Green Bay, Madison, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus, Louisville, Lexington, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Hartford, Providence, and Boston. Announcers for this game are Ian Eagle and Charles Davis. Current point spread is Cincinnati -3, over-unders 41.5. I'm taking the Bengals to win this game 24-21, which means we'll push the 3-point total. And I have the game going over 41.5 by a handful of points. Next up are two more teams in the running for the playoffs in the NFC. As the red hot 7-7 Detroit Lions, winners of 6 of 7, traveled to Charlotte to face the 5-9 Carolina Panthers, who, despite their record, still alive in the very weak NFC South. Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. On the Fox map on 506sports.com, Lions Panthers is shaded in yellow. Main Fox stations are WJBK Detroit, owned and operated station, and affiliate WJZY in Charlotte. And this is a limited coverage area for this game. Markets outside Charlotte and Detroit getting this game include Grand Rapids, Raleigh-Durham, and Greensboro, Winston-Salem. The announcers are Chris Myers and Smith. Current point spread is Detroit -2.5. Over-under is at 44. I'm picking the Lions to win 28-20, going with the hot hand here. And I'm taking Detroit minus the 2.5 points to cover. Goes over to 44. Getting at a battle in the AFC South up next, as the 1-12-1 Houston Texans look to end a 9-game losing streak as they venture into Nashville to face the 7-7 Tennessee Titans, who are slumping big time. Losers of 4 straight, and the news just gets worse for Mike Vrabel's Titans as quarterback Ryan Tannehill is out for the season with an injury. So that means Willis will be the starter for the Titans the rest of the way. This is Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. On the CBS map at 506sports.com, Texans-Titans is listed in yellow. Main CBS stations are KHOU in Houston and WTVF in Nashville. And again, this is a limited coverage area for this game, as it'll primarily air to Tennessee and to much of South Texas, as San Antonio, Memphis, and Knoxville are the major markets outside of Houston and Nashville getting this game. The announcers are Andrew Catalan and James Lofton. Current point spread is Tennessee -3 over under 35.5. I'm going to trust the Titans here and take them 19-14 and to cover the 3 points. But I am not 100% certain about this, given the fact that the Texans nearly pulled upsets in back-to-back weeks against the Cowboys, going under 35.5. Okay, next up, you've got the 5-9 New Orleans Saints visiting the 6-8 Cleveland Browns. Saints also in the running for the NFC South title, while the Browns are on the outside of the AFC playoffs looking. This game is Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Orange. Main CBS stations are WWL-TV in New Orleans and WOIO in Cleveland. And again, this game also has a limited coverage area. Markets outside Cleveland and New Orleans getting this game include Toledo, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, and Jackson, Mississippi. The announcers will be Spiro Ditas and Jay Feely. Current point spread is Cleveland -3. Over under is 32, and that's the lowest over under total on the board this week. Yeah, don't expect a lot of points to be scored in this game, as I have the Browns winning 21-13, the game finishing just over 32, and I have Cleveland covering the 3 points. They got the New York Football Giants at 8-5-1, headed up to U.S. Bank Stadium to face off with the 11-3 Vikings. The 11-3 Minnesota Vikings, the newly crowned champions of the NFC North, thanks to the biggest comeback win in NFL history last week against Indianapolis, where the Vikings down 33-0, and they ended up pulling this one out of nowhere in overtime. Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox. On the Fox early map on 506sports.com, this game shaded in blue. Main Fox stations are WNYW in New York and KMSP in Minneapolis, St. Paul, both of which are owned and operated by Fox. Major markets outside New York and the Twin Cities getting this game include El Paso, San Antonio, Austin, Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, so pretty much every major market in Texas. Fort Lauderdale, Des Moines, Green Bay, Hartford, Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo. Spread is Minnesota -4.5. Over under is 40.5. And both these teams can score points, and I don't trust either of their defenses. That said, I'm taking Vikings to win yet another one-score game, 28-24. But I'm making the New York Giants to cover at 4.5 points. And I have the game going just over 47.5. The final game on Saturday afternoon is spot on Fox, and that's the 7-7 Seattle Seahawks, who people, I myself included, thought that they would blow the Texans for the game of interest in the early window on Fox. Main stations are KCPQ Seattle, owned and operated station, and affiliate the DAF TV in Kansas City. Major markets outside of Kansas City and Seattle getting this game include Spokane, Portland, Boise, Reno, San Francisco, Sacramento, Fresno, Bakersfield. Los Angeles, San Diego, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Tucson, Salt Lake City, Albuquerque, Denver, Colorado Springs, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Little Rock, Shreveport, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi, Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville, Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, St. Petersburg, Wichita, Omaha, St. Louis, Indianapolis, Cleveland, Boston, and Providence. The announcers for this game will be Kevin Kugler and Mark Sanchez. Current point spread is Kansas City minus 10. So this is the third straight week that Vegas has labeled the Chiefs as a double-digit favorite. The over-under is at 49. Well, given the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs failed to cover these large point spreads, I'm going to keep the trend continuing. I have the Chiefs winning straight up 31-26, but I have Seattle plus 10 to cover as the road underdog. And I got the game over 49 points. Now to the two late games on Saturday afternoon, starting off 7-6-1 Washington Commanders visiting the 10-4 San Francisco 49ers, and both teams will be in the playoffs right now. While the Niners are in the playoffs as NFC champions, the Commanders currently hold the number 7 seed in the conference. This is Saturday at 4:05 Eastern on CBS. On the CBS app at 506sports.com. Commanders 49ers is listed in blue. Main CBS stations are WUSA in Washington, D.C., and KPIX in San Francisco, which is a CBS owned and operated station. Major markets outside D.C. and San Francisco receiving this game include Seattle, Portland, Boise, Spokane, Reno, Sacramento, Fresno, Bakersfield, Los Angeles, San Diego. So pretty much the entire West Coast. Kansas City, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Detroit, Atlanta, Norfolk, Richmond, Baltimore, and New York City. The announcers are Kevin Harlan and Trent Green. Current point spread is San Francisco minus 7, and your over-under is 37.5. I'm going to take the Niners straight up 26-20, but I have Washington covering at plus 7. Game goes over 13.5. And then next game up will be the final afternoon game of the day. As the 13-1 Philadelphia Eagles not only look to lock up the NFC East title, but the number 1 seed in the conference as they venture into Dallas to face the 10-4 and playoff-bound Cowboys. Now, there is a change at quarterback as Jalen Hurts is injured. He suffered a shoulder injury in last Sunday's narrow win in Chicago. So that means Minshew will be at the controls of the Philadelphia offense on Saturday. This game is at 4:25 Eastern on Fox. And on main Fox stations are both owned and operated. WTF in Philadelphia and KDFW in Dallas-Fort Worth. And as I said earlier, this game will be to every Fox station in the country. The announcers are Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson. Current points based on the Hurts injury is Dallas minus 5, and the over-under is 46.5. But I'm taking my Eagles. I'm sorry, I got to take my Eagles even without Jalen Hurts. Philly wins this one 31-28. They cover the 5 points as the visiting underdog. And the over. Definitely take the over. That's what I'm doing here as this game goes over 46.5. And then the final game on Christmas Eve is a special game. As the 6-8 Las Vegas Raiders visit the 6-8 Pittsburgh Steelers. in a game commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. And as I said at the rest in peace, Franco Harris. He died yesterday, age of 72. He was the man that caught the game-winning touchdown. This game is Saturday night at 8:15 Eastern on NFL Network. And the announcers for the game is the entire NFL Game Day morning crew of Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner, Steve Mariucci, and Michael Irvin. This game will locally be televised in Las Vegas on ABC and KTNV Action 13 Action News, I should say, and on CBS owned and operated KDKA in Pittsburgh. Current point spread is Pittsburgh minus 2.5. Over under is at 37.5. I have the Steelers winning 24-16. I think they're playing the better ball of the two teams. I have Pittsburgh covering 2.5 points, and I got the game going just over 37.5. Next up is the Christmas Day triple header, starting off with the 6-8 Green Bay Packers, still with a pulse in the NFC playoff race. Traveling down the south to face the 8-6 Miami Dolphins, currently in a playoff spot in the AFC playoffs. It's Christmas Day at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox, and the entire nation will be watching this one. The announcers are Joe Davis and Darryl Johnston. Current point spread is Miami minus 3.5. Over under is at 51. I'm taking the Dolphins to win 27-23, and this is based on Aaron Rodgers' history in the state of Florida, which is not good. I do have the Dolphins nearly covering the 3.5 points, and I have the game finishing just 1 point below or under the 51 total. Game 2 on Christmas Day pits two teams out of consideration for the playoffs, as the Denver Broncos, Los Angeles Rams, both 4-10, square off at SoFi Stadium. This game is Sunday at 4:30 Eastern on both CBS and Nickelodeon, and there are two broadcast teams for this game. The CBS broadcast will be called by Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. The Nickelodeon broadcast will be called by Noah Eagle and Nate Burleson. They were on the mics for that historic Vikings comeback win against the Colts last week. Current point spread is Denver minus 2.5. I don't see how that's even possible. The over-under is at 36.5. I'm taking the underdog Rams to win this game 20-16. Now, I know Denver scored at least 20 points in their last two games, but they're not going to make it through against this Rams defense. And I have LA covering the 2.5 points as the home underdog, and the game going just under 36.5 points. That brings us to the final game on Christmas, and that's Sunday Night Football, as the 6-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers let the draw themselves one step closer to perhaps winning the very atrocious NFC South, taking on the 4-10 Arizona Cardinals. Speaking of atrocious, just down the street from me at State Farm Stadium. Sunday night at 8:20 Eastern on NBC. The announcers will be Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth. Main NBC stations for this game are WFLA Tampa St. Petersburg and NX TV here in Phoenix. Current point spread is Tampa Bay minus 9.5. Over under is 40.5. And 4 words to describe the Arizona Cardinals: they are in shambles. Give me the Buccaneers to win this game 26-13. They should easily cover the 9.5 points. And I got the game going just under 40.5. And then our final game of the week is Monday Night Football with the 8-6 Los Angeles Chargers visiting the 4-9-1 Indianapolis Colts. An LA win will eliminate Indy from playoff contention. Monday night at 8:15 on ESPN. Announcers are Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. This game will be locally televised on ABC owned and operated and West Coast flagship KABC Channel 7 in Los Angeles, and on CW affiliate Wish TV Channel 8 in Indianapolis. Current point spread is LA -4.5. Over under is 45. I'm taking the Chargers to win this game 27-17. I have the Chargers covering the 4.5 points, and I have this game finishing 1 point under 45. Okay, so those are my picks. Now let's take a look at the playoff clinching scenarios during week number 16, and we'll start off with the NFC this time. All right, so we know the Philadelphia Eagles, they clinched the playoff spot. They can lock up the NFC East title and the number 1 seed in the conference with a win in Dallas. Again, have to do it with Gardner Minshew at quarterback and not Jalen Hurts. All right, the Minnesota Vikings and San Francisco 49ers, both of which won their divisions last week, they are battling for the 2 seed. Minnesota is the current number 2 seed in the NFC, while the Niners sit at number 3. Tampa Bay in the weak NFC South is the number 4 seed right now. Then you got the Dallas Cowboys, who clinched the playoff berth despite losing in Jacksonville. They ended up clinching a playoff spot because the Giants beat the Commanders Sunday night. So they're in the playoffs. They will lock up that 9 seed and potentially play the NFC South champion with a win over the Eagles and the aforementioned Giants are sitting in the 6th spot. They can lock up a playoff for the 3 following teams: the Lions to the Panthers, the Seahawks at the Chiefs, or the Commanders at the 49ers. So either Detroit, Seattle, or the Vikings in order for New York to get into the playoffs. And Washington is sitting in that number 7 spot. Seattle and Detroit with 7 wins. And then Green Bay with 6 wins. They're all on the outside of the wild card race looking in. While the Panthers, Saints, and Falcons, all with 5 wins, still have a shot at the NFC South division title. Now the AFC clinching scenarios. We'll start out with the Bills, who clinched the playoff berth last night with their win over the Dolphins. They'll lock up the AFC East with a win in Chicago or a Dolphins loss to the Packers. Kansas City Chiefs, who already locked up AFC West last week, they're fighting with Buffalo for that top spot. Another thing you should consider for that number 1 spot in the AFC is the Cincinnati Bengals, currently 3rd. They will clinch a playoff spot with a win at New England or a Jets loss tonight to Jacksonville. So one of those two things happens, Cincinnati's going to the playoffs. Slumping Tennessee Titans sitting in the number 4 spot. Then you've got the Baltimore Ravens in the top wild card or that number 5 spot. The Chargers sit 6th and the Dolphins are 7th. The Patriots and Dolphins, rather the Patriots and Jets each have 7 wins. And they are just out of the playoffs, as are a host of teams with 6 wins, including the Raiders and Steelers who play Saturday night. The Browns are in that mix as well. And there's another team. I think it's I'm trying to think who it is. I said the Raiders. I said the Steelers. Oh, the Jaguars. They play tonight. The Jaguars are the other team. So those are your clinching scenarios. Entering week number 16 in the NFL. And we'll start with the AFC as always. All right. So the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, Cincinnati Bengals, and Tennessee Titans are your 4 division leaders. And Kansas City already locking up their division. Buffalo is currently sitting in the number 1 spot with an 11-3 record. 3-2 division, 8-2 conference, 531 strength of schedule, 506 strength of victory. Kansas City is also 11-3, already locking up the AFC West. 4-0 in the division, 7-3 in the conference, 459 strength of schedule, 419 strength of victory. Buffalo wins the tiebreaker over Kansas City based on head-to-head win percentage. The present AFC North leaders, the Cincinnati Bengals, sit in the 3 spot at 10-4. 2-3 division, 6-3 conference, 495 strength of schedule, 471 strength of victory. And sitting in that number 4 spot, the Tennessee Titans, hanging on by a thread in that AFC South at 7-7, 3-1 division, 5-5 conference, 518 strength of schedule, 347 strength of victory. As it sits, the 3 wild card spots in the AFC would go to the Ravens, Chargers, and Dolphins. Baltimore sits in the number 5 spot at 9-5, 3-1 division, 6-4 conference, 487 strength of schedule, 444 strength of victory. Then you've got the Los Angeles Chargers in as the number 6 seed right now at 8-6, 2-3 division, 6-4 conference, 472 strength of schedule, 371 strength of victory. That bumps the Miami Dolphins into the number 7 spot at 8-6, 2-2 division, 6-4 conference, 548 strength of schedule, 451 strength of victory. Los Angeles wins the tiebreaker over Miami based on head-to-head win percentage. And just on the outside of the playoffs looking in, your number 8 team is the New England Patriots, 7-7. 2-2 in the division, 5-4 in the conference. 487 strength of schedule, 423 strength of victory. In 9th with a 7-7 record is the New York Jets. 2-3 in the division, 5-5 in the conference. 41 strength of schedule and 449 strength of victory. New England wins the tiebreaker over New York based on head-to-head win percentage. Again, the Patriots switch in their season. Then you've got 4 teams at 6-8. Starting off with the number 10 Jacksonville Jaguars. 2-2 in the division, and 5-4 in the conference. 518 strength of schedule, 530 strength of victory. Number 11, 3-2 division, 5-5 conference. 413 strength of schedule, 375 strength of victory. Next up at number 12 are the Cleveland Browns. 6-8, 3-2 division, 4-7 in the conference, 523 strength of schedule, 446 strength of victory. Number 13 are the Pittsburgh Steelers, also at 6-8. 1-3 division, 2-7 in the conference, 543 strength of schedule, 423 strength of victory. Jacksonville wins the tiebreakers over both Cleveland and Las Vegas based on best win percentage in conference games. As you see, the Jaguars are 5-4 in the AFC, the Raiders are 5-5, and the Browns are 3-7. The division tiebreaker was initially used to eliminate Pittsburgh. Vegas wins the tiebreaker over Cleveland for the same reason, best win percentage in conference games. And again, the divisional tiebreaker was initially used to eliminate Pittsburgh. Cleveland owns the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh based on head-to-head win percentage. And they do have one more game coming up towards the end of the year here. Sitting at number 14 with their playoff hopes on life support at this point, the Indianapolis Colts. 4-9-1, 1-3-1 in division play, 4-5-1 within the conference. 526 strength of schedule, 482 strength of victory. And at this point, there are two teams eliminated from playoff contention in the AFC. At number 15 is the Denver Broncos at 4-10, 0-4 division and 8 conference, 4-9 strength of schedule, 384 strength of victory. And at the bottom at number 16 are the Houston Texans, 1-12-1, 1-1-1 in the division, 1-7-1 in the conference. 523 strength of schedule, 429 strength of victory. All right, that brings us down to the NFC playoff race. As of right now, the Philadelphia Eagles, Minnesota Vikings, San Francisco 49ers, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers are your 4 division leaders. Philadelphia, owners of the NFL's best record at 13-1, sits with the top record in the conference. 3-1 division, 8-1 in the conference, 457 strength of schedule, 4-1 strength of victory. Number 2 is the FC North champion Minnesota Vikings at 11-3. 3-1 division, 6-3 conference, 510 strength of schedule, 55 strength of victory. Sitting in the 3 spot are the NFC West champions, 8-2 in the conference. So they have as many conference wins as the Eagles. Strength of schedule and strength of victory are virtually the same for San Francisco. Strength of schedule is 413. Strength of victory is 1 point higher at 414. Then you've got Tampa Bay in the 4 spot with a 6-8 record. 3-1 in the division, 6-3 in the conference, 505 strength of schedule, 429 strength of victory. Sorry, yawning. The three teams behind Philadelphia in the NFC East all hold the wild card spots in the NFC. The 5-seeded Dallas Cowboys are already in the playoffs with a 10-4 record. 3-1 division, 7-3 conference, 492 strength of schedule, 468 strength of victory. Number 6 is the New York Giants at 8-5-1, 1-3-1 within the division, 4-5-1 in the conference. 508 strength of schedule, 402 strength of victory. And sitting in that seventh and final spot in the NFC is the Washington Commanders. 7-6-1. Division, 4-5-1 in the Giants at 531. Their strength of victory is 4 points lower than the Giants at 398. Just on the outside of the playoffs looking in are both the Seattle Seahawks and Detroit Lions, both with 7-7 records. Seattle is 3-2 in the division, 5-6 in the conference, 441 strength of schedule, 403 strength of victory. Detroit, meanwhile, is 3-1 in their division. Seattle wins the tiebreaker over Detroit based head-to-head win percentage. Let's remember the Seahawks beat the Lions earlier this year. Also still in the running are the Green Bay Packers at 6-8. They're sitting 10th in the conference. 2-2 in the division, 5-5 in the NFC, 536 strength of schedule, 393 strength of victory. There you got the other three teams chasing Tampa in the weak NFC South, with the Panthers and Falcons all sitting at 5-9. Carolina is 3-1 within the division, 4-5 in the conference, with a 457 strength of schedule and 386 strength of victory. New Orleans is 2-3 in the division, 4-6 in the conference, 4-8 strength of schedule, 3-6 strength of victory, which is the same as Carolina. And Atlanta is 1-4 within the division, 4-6 in the conference, 446 strength of schedule, 443 strength of victory. And all three teams are 5-9. Carolina wins the tiebreaker over New Orleans based on head-to-head win percentage, and also wins the tiebreaker over Atlanta for that same reason, head-to-head win percentage. Likewise for the Saints, they own the tiebreaker over the Falcons based on head-to-head win percentage. That means you have three teams eliminated from the playoff picture. Number 14 is the Arizona Cardinals at 4-10, 1-4 in the division, 3-6 in the conference, 520 strength of schedule, 357 strength of victory. Number 15, the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams, who will not be defending their in the playoffs this year. They're 4-10 as well, 1-4 in the division, 3-8 in the conference, 510 strength of schedule, 3 Los Angeles, based on best win percentage in common games. Although LA owns the head-to-head tie over Arizona. And at the bottom of the NFC, you've got the Chicago Bears at 3-11, 0-4 in the division, 1-9 in the conference, 548 strength of schedule, 40 strength of victory. And those are my picks for this week here in week number 16, the National Football League, both straight up and against the spread. We also looked at the maps for all these Saturday afternoon games and the announcers for each game this week. And we have just ran down clinching scenarios for the playoffs and the postseason races in both conferences. All right. So this is going to be my last video before Christmas. I want to take this time and wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from your boy, Big Al. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell. Get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Pigskin. And once again, happy holidays. Peace out.